Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
An episode of the West Coast program, The Whistler. This episode was originally broadcast on June 3rd, 1946. It's entitled The Judas Face.
The Signal Oil Program, The Whistler. That whistle is your signal for the Signal Oil Program, The Whistler.
I am the Whistler, and I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Yes, I know the nameless terrors of which they dare not speak.
Yes, friends, it's time for The Whistler, rated by independent research the most popular West Coast radio program. And remember, let every traffic signal remind you, with new Signal gasoline, you do go farther than ever. Look for the familiar big yellow and black circle sign that identifies those popular Signal service stations throughout the West, from Canada to Mexico. And now the Whistler's strange story, The Judas Face.
The movie star lay on the hospital bed, looking up at the white ceiling through narrow slits in the efficient mask of gauze and tape which covered her face. $1 million face, the trade papers had called it, with sparkling blue eyes, a delicate nose, and passionate full lips. Yes, in every sense of the word, the face of Sandra Dane was her fortune. Then, in 10 seconds, everything had changed. There was an afternoon horseback ride with Janet Blaisdell, her stand-in, a gust of wind, Janet's silk scarf and the horse's eyes, a terrified plunge, a fall, flying hooves all around her, and blackness. Then the hospital smell. Quiet, efficient Dr. Rogers and his quiet, efficient staff. Janet and Gordon West, her producer, visiting her every afternoon. All of them kind and sympathetic. All of them knowing that the $1 million face might be gone forever. That behind the mask of bandages was a question mark.
Well, don't sit there staring at me, Gordon, darling. The end of the world hasn't come, you know.
Of course not, Sandy.
I hope not. Janet, dear, it wasn't your fault. The wind blew your scarf and...
That's what I keep telling her, Sandra. But you know how she is.
If you must feel sorry for someone, dear, how about poor Gordy? He's got $1 million tied up in the picture, and he can't shoot a lick until I get out of hock. Well, that's right, isn't it?
Sandy, dear, we've been wanting to tell you
Janet.
Well, what's going on?
Sandy, about the picture.
What about the picture?
You know how bankers are.
Bankers?
This accident of yours, I know you'll be all right, but so far as they're concerned, well,
What are you trying to tell me, Gordy?
You've got to understand, Sandy. The bankers insisted that Gordy test someone else for the part.
Of course, I thought of Janet first.
Janet, you're playing my part?
She didn't want to do it, Sandy. Neither did I, but there just wasn't anything else we could do about it.
Janet, playing my part.
Please don't feel badly about it, Sandy.
Feel badly? I think it's marvelous. It's so funny. My stand-in. But it just doesn't happen. Oh, it's a wonderful break for you, dear. Wonderful.
Yeah, what did I tell you, Janet? I knew she'd understand. And you don't have to worry, Sandy. No matter how this plastic surgery turns out, there'll always be a job for you at my studio. You know that.
Job? But the operation's been successful. I'm sure of it. They told me there was no question.
Of course. You've been wonderful, darling. Now we've got to run along it. Oh, hello, Dr. Rogers.
Hello, everyone. Mind if I see the patient alone for a few minutes?
We're just leaving, Doctor. Chin up, Sandy.
Goodbye, dear, and good luck. We'll be seeing you.
You certainly have nice friends.
Yes, aren't they, Doctor?
Do you mean that?
Why not?
I happen to know, Miss Dane, that you believe Janet Blaisdell was responsible for your accident. That in a fit of jealousy over your career, she purposely whipped a scarf into the eyes of your horse.
How can you say a thing like that?
I didn't say it first, Miss Dane. You did.
What do you mean?
While you were under the anesthetic. That happens frequently, you know. I'm bringing this up for good reason, Miss Dane. In the event this operation doesn't come up to expectations, a thought like this preying on your mind can ruin your entire life.
I hired you as a plastic surgeon, Dr. Rogers, and not as a psychiatrist.
I'm sorry, Miss Dane. I simply felt that now, of all times, was the moment to bring it up.
Why?
I'm going to remove your bandages.
When?
Now. Steady now. You must remember that we've done the very best we could.
Please hurry, Doctor.
Just a second more. I can guarantee that the reconstruction will give you a normal appearance, but...
But what?
Whether or not you'll be able to resume your career, I don't know. Now, there you are.
A mirror. Give me a mirror.
Very well. Here.
That's not my face. It's not me.
I tried to tell you, Miss...
Get out of here. Get out.
But, Miss Dane...
Get out.
Very well.
$1 million face. That's so laugh. She did it. It was a plot. She blinded the horse. I'm dead. I might as well be dead. But she's not going to get away with it. I'll kill her.
June 3rd, 1946, The Whistler on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to Medishare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Medishare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Medishare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues now with more of The Whistler, June 3rd, 1946, The Judas Face.
So, the $1 million face is a thing of the past, Sandra. And Janet Blaisdell, your pretty stand-in, is going to take your place in your picture. It was too much to take, wasn't it, Sandra? Janet in your place. Earnest, eager little Janet. The same girl who stood under the hot studio lights for endless minutes while cameras were focused and mic booms adjusted. The girl who took it for you while you sat in the cool shadows and watched. Yes, Sandra, it's more than you can swallow. But you're not raging anymore. There's only cool, calm hatred now, and a plan to kill. So you go about it methodically. First, of course, there's the matter of the assistant producer's job Gordon West promised you.
Oh, you've been so wonderful, Gordy. It's all set then about the job?
Sure, Sandy. You're going to be my assistant on Janet's first picture. How's that?
It's perfect. Just perfect.
Step one, Sandra, the job. So you go to work for Gordon West. And in a week or so, you decide to tackle step two. It seems that Janet's picture is a Western and will be shot on location. There are two possible sites, Hamilton Ranch or Felipe Mesa. And Gordon hasn't decided yet. Frank Reynolds, the chief cameraman, will have a lot to say about that. Gordon depends on him.
I don't know, Sandy. Last time I talked to the boss, he was all for Hamilton Ranch.
But there's no comparison, Frank. I was brought up near there. I know it like a book. Please talk to him, Frank. I know he'll listen to you.
Why?
Why what?
Why are you so interested?
Because it'll make the difference between a first-class Western and a cheap
You
one.
want Janet's debut to be a topper, huh?
Why, of course. Why not?
I'm a cameraman, Sandy. I've been trained to catch human emotion on film. To look for people's thoughts in their eyes and their faces.
Well?
Nothing. Matter of fact, I was on my way to the boss to make a pitch for Felipe Mesa, too. I kind of wonder if you and I have the same reason.
It has to be Felipe Mesa, doesn't it, Sandra? You weren't bragging. You know it like a book. Its steep sides, the narrow, dangerous trail winding up the cliff to the top that they'll be bound to use for the chase sequence, with Janet plunging down it at a full gallop, the wall falling away sheer on her right for 300 feet. Yes, Sandra, Felipe Mesa is perfect. It has everything you need. 2 hours later, Frank comes out of Gordon's office.
Frank,
Yeah?
what did he decide?
You win, honey. Felipe Mesa.
So you're over the first hurdle, Sandra. And for the next 2 weeks, as the company prepares to leave for location, you think it through again and again, coolly, taking your time, anticipating, preparing, concentrating on the climax that will come when Janet reins her horse at the top of the mesa, pauses a moment, and then starts down the trail.
Sandy? Janet.
What's the matter, dear? Did I scare you?
No. No, Janet, I was just thinking.
I'm sorry. You look so funny smiling to yourself that way. I just dropped by to tell you we're leaving tomorrow. Start shooting Monday. Isn't it wonderful?
Of course, dear. I'm so thrilled for you.
And I'm so thankful to you, Sandy. All the help you've given me. You've been so good about everything.
Why, don't be silly, darling. We've got to make good, you know. You and I.
Yes, Sandra. You've got to make good. And everything is pointing in the right direction. You relax now and wait, smiling to yourself over Janet's enthusiasm on the trip to location during the preliminary shooting, controlling the anger inside you as Gordon West raves over her performance. It's still going to be your picture, isn't it, Sandra? And then at last the moment arrives, the day when the chase sequence is to be shot from the ream of the mesa. The weather has been blistering hot for the past week, and the company is restless as Gordon gives them last-minute instructions.
Quiet, please, quiet! Now listen, everyone. I want to shoot this chase without a break in the action. Get it all in one unbroken sequence. Get that, Frank?
Okay, Gordy. Cameras are all set.
Now, you men who are the heavies, remember when you're chasing Janet down that trail, don't crowd her. Look as though you're laying on the leather, but don't get too close. I don't want any accidents. Janet,
Right here, Gordy.
you're sure you've got the action all straight?
Of course. I stop for a minute at the top and then take the trail down the south face.
Come here a minute.
Yes, Gordy?
This is the last chance, honey. What about the double?
No.
Why?
Well, Sandy would never have used a double. Neither will I.
She never did a trick like this. How do you know she wouldn't?
I know her pretty well. Oh, please, let's not go through it again.
Okay. By the way, where's Sandy?
Over there, sitting down. I'm afraid the heat's got her.
Oh. All right, you'd better get up there. What's the matter, Sandy?
Oh, I'm just a little dizzy, I guess. Afraid I'm not going to be much good to you today.
You're pretty hot at that. Maybe you'd better go back to the camp, huh?
I was hoping you'd suggest that.
Maybe I'd better send someone back there with you. Be alone, you know. Not a soul in the camp.
Oh, forget it. I'll be all right. Just lie down for a while.
Okay.
Oh, and, Gordy,
Yeah?
wish Janet a lot of luck for me. Will you?
Sure.
All right, kids, let's go.
They've gone now, Sandra. Gordon's on top of a mesa to direct the action by phone. The cameraman and actors are in their places, and you're supposed to be alone in camp with a sick headache. You know the mesa, don't you, Sandra? No one sees you as you slip along the chaparral-covered slope at the foot of the mesa, up through the underbrush to the spot you found the first day of shooting, right next to the trail halfway to the top. A perfect spot, isn't it? A huge boulder on one side, greasewood and mesquite on the other. You crouch beside a strong steel stake you've driven firmly into the earth the night before. Pick up the ends of a thin wire rope, looped around the mesquite root on the other side of the trail. Invisible under the dust you scattered over it. You're ready now, waiting, listening, and then... She's coming, Sandra. You tighten the rope, hitch it firmly around the steel stake. You're ready for her now. So it was your picture after all, wasn't it, Sandra? The weeks of planning paid off. The moment the horse tripped, a flip of the cable loosened it from the mesquite root, and it's lost forever, along with a steel stake among the boulders at the bottom of the gorge. You're back in camp, lying down, of course, with your sick headache, when Gordon arrives with the news.
Dead. Dead. Oh, no, Gordy, no.
Take it easy, Sandy.
Oh, you're wrong, Gordy. She can't be dead. She's just a kid. Not Janet, no.
Yes, Sandra, that was an Academy Award performance. Even though you don't have the face to go with it anymore. It's all settled now. There was no question, just a few formalities, and an official statement by the coroner that Janet Blaisdell died as the result of an accidental fall from a horse. The weeks pass, and you go back to your job at Gordon's side in Hollywood. Yes, it's settled. You did a perfect job. There's no evidence. And yet there's still a vague, uneasy feeling inside you, as if something was hanging over your head, ready to fall. Somehow you can't put your finger on it. At least until the day Frank Reynolds, the cameraman, takes you to lunch.
You know, Sandy, I think I told you once about the peculiar insight a guy gets after grinding a camera for 10 years.
What do you mean, Frank?
Well, it's funny. You can almost tell what a person's thinking. Just the way he holds his face. You know, I can spot hatred a mile away, for instance. Jealousy. The cold look of a...
Of what, Frank?
Of a murderer. Funny, isn't it?
It's interesting.
They can't hide it, you know. It's there in spite of them. It's odd. I thought I saw it in your face out on location that day. The day Janet died.
Yes, that is odd. It indicates that you're not infallible anyway.
It's, not there now, though.
Of course it isn't. Now, suppose
Just a minute, Sandy. It isn't there now. There's something else.
What?
Fear. I want you to come over to my house tonight, Sandy.
No, I'm sorry, Frank.
I won't take no for an answer, Sandy. Be there at 8. There's something I want you to see.
You make an excuse. Tell them you're ill. Leave the office that afternoon. He's bluffing you, Sandra. You tell yourself again and again that Frank Reynolds is bluffing you. That there's no reason in the world for you to go to his house at 8 tonight. And 1,000 good reasons why you shouldn't. There's no proof, no evidence. Why should you fall for it? Of course not. So at 7 o'clock, you decide definitely you're not going. And at 8 o'clock sharp, you're ringing his doorbell.
Hello, Sandy.
Hello, Frank.
Well, are you coming in?
I can only stay for a minute.
I won't be long. I began to think you weren't coming.
I came here for only one reason, Frank. To get to the bottom of that double talk at lunch today.
That's exactly why we're going downstairs. I've got a movie projector there. You know, rally the folks around for a private showing once in a while. Now sit right down over there, Sandy. Screen's all set up.
Please, Frank, let's stop this nonsense. I told you I can only stay a few minutes and... What's that revolver doing on your desk?
Revolver? Oh, that. I was cleaning it before dinner. Nice thing to have around. No telling what dangerous characters a man might meet in my business. But you're not a dangerous character, are you, Sandy? So I'll put it away for now. Let's look at the pictures, huh? I'm sure you're going to find them interesting, Sandra. You see, I took them myself the day of the chase sequence at Felipe Mesa.
Oh, the chase sequence.
That's right. The chase sequence.
The Whistler primarily heard on the west coast of the United States. It did have a couple of nationwide runs, but mostly totally west coast. June 3rd, 1946, The Whistler. Mostly totally west coast, I did say that. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The conclusion comes up next.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of The Whistler and the Judas Face, June 3rd, 1946.
You remember that day, of course. The day Janet was murdered. The day Janet died. I'll turn out the lights here. Now start up the projector. There we are. I don't think you knew I was on a roving assignment that day, Sandra. I was using a portable camera with a telephoto lens. Managed to get some very unusual shots. Oh, here's a pan start of the chase.
Your
Take a look at the
brain is
mesa
spinning
there.
like that projection
Now, there's a
machine.
swell shot of Janet.
You know what's coming next, don't you, Sandra?
Lens fixed
Frank is gloating now over his telephoto lens. The one thing you forgot to figure on.
Now she starts.
Slowly you ease out of your chair in the dark toward the desk, pull the drawer open, grope for the revolver, find it. Move quietly back to your chair, hiding the gun under your purse on your lap.
Of course, Sandy. Every climax has to have a build-up. Telephoto lens is a wonderful thing, isn't it, Sandy? You'd swear you were 10 feet from her. Oh, Now we're getting somewhere. Here comes Janet down the steep pitch. Oh, look ahead of her. In that narrow gap on her left, in the greasewood there.
Oh.
Surprised, huh? That woman there, crouching next to the trail. Look what she has in her hand. A rope, isn't it? Now, here's a cutback to Janet galloping down the trail. She's almost opposite the woman now. Look! Look at the girl with the rope. Who does she look like, Sandy, huh? Who is it?
Stop it! Stop that machine!
Okay.
Turn on the lights, Frank. Hurry up.
Right. There. That better?
All right, Frank. How much do you want for that film?
Why, Sandy. What are you...
I said how much, Frank?
Well, I didn't know you admired my camera work so much, Sandy.
Will you come to the point?
Well, of course, you've got to admit this is pretty unusual stuff. It comes high.
How much?
Well, I figure you've probably stashed away a couple of $100,000 in your time. Successful star, you know. $40,000 a picture.
$200,000.
Yeah. Suppose we say half of it. And you get the negatives.
What made you do this, Frank?
Well, I always was a guy for a fast buck. And there was something else, of course. Janet and I were going to be married when the picture was finished. Let's face it, Sandy, $100,000 is cheap.
Yes, I guess you're right. I can't afford to take a chance. There's only one way to make sure.
Hey, what are you doing?
Stay just right there, Frank. Right where you're standing.
Put down that gun, Sandy. You can't get away with murder again.
No.
Listen, Sandy. I'll destroy the film.
It was the only way out, wasn't it, Sandra? It was all there on the film, everything. Absolute ironclad proof. And you were smart enough to realize you could never end it by paying him off. The black, blinding hatred for him closed in as you gripped the gun tight and pulled the trigger once, then twice more, and then...
Sandy, you poor, stupid little...
Frank! I shot you, Frank. Why don't you...
They're all gone now, honey. You better let me have the gun.
Get away from me, Frank!
Give me that gun. That's it. You're a cold-blooded killer, aren't you, Sandy? But you're at the end of your rope now.
What is it? I don't
The
understand.
gun was loaded with blanks, darling. All right, gentlemen, you can come in now. Looks like the scene's over.
All right, Frank. Come on, Dr. Rogers. Officer?
Gordon, what are you...
The required number of witnesses, Sandy. Are you satisfied, officer?
I don't think there'll be any question.
I might as well tell you, Sandy. We faked that film.
What? You mean there was no...
There was nothing except a healthy suspicion on the part of Dr. Rogers that you murdered Janet Blaisdell. Seems you talked rather freely while you were under the anesthetic some time ago. He insisted we examine the point on the Mesa Trail where Janet fell. All we could find was a hole on the left-hand side of the trail, as if a stake had been driven there. So we made a long guess and shot the scene with a stock actress made up to look like you, just to see what you'd have to say. Isn't that right, Doctor?
Yes, of course, there was nothing to go on, except what you said under anesthesia while I was working on your face.
Interesting, isn't it, Sandra? The one thing in the world you treasured most, the thing you killed for, gave you away. Your $1 million face.
Next Monday at 9 o'clock, The Whistler will bring you another strange tale. The Whistler is broadcast for your entertainment by the marketers of Signal gasoline and motor oil and fine quality automotive accessories, and by your neighborhood Signal dealer. Featured in tonight's cast were Mary Lansing and Gerald Moore. This program produced by George W. Allen, based on a story by B. Marsh, music by Wilbur Hatch, is transmitted to our troops overseas by the Armed Forces Radio Service.
June 3rd, 1946, The Whistler on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
It's a big, bold story set in the heartland of America, along the edge of Lonely Mountain. I am open for business. And so Big William Gorgon, played by handsome Michael James, fiercely set down his Midwest roots.
Oh, darling, we're going to sell bathrobes and raise chickens.
Set his adoring wife, Wilhelmina, portrayed by beautiful Glenda Olsen.
Oh, I love our store, Will.
But they hadn't counted on Big Ralph's bathrobes and cattle store coming to town.
Oh, Will, what will we do, Will?
Will had a plan, a way of facing off against tough Big Ralph. We're going to change the face of America. We're going to advertise.
Ad for what?
With print, broadcasting, and bus benches, we're going to tell people who we are and where we are.
What's a bus?
And so the story of how one man brought advertising to the heartland.
Oh, will it work?
It will. Well, my name ain't Will, Wilhelmina. You got to advertise or we'll die. And so the greatest marketing story of all time is here. Advertise or die, dopey.
Put your message on this national advertising platform. Email classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of the soap opera Claudia, June 3rd, 1948.
And now, Claudia.
La 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 la, dum doodle 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 doodle.
Claudia.
La 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 la. What? Huh?
Who told you you could sing?
Mama, you've got to be as fresh as David.
I don't see how he can concentrate on his blueprints with such a racket going on.
He likes me to be happy.
Couldn't you find it in your heart to be happy a little more silently?
La la la.
What are you doing?
La la la. Setting the table. What's it look like?
In the kitchen?
You're too high hat to eat in the kitchen.
That's no way to feed your husband.
Listen, with Gertrude off, I'm not going to wear myself to a frazzle. Slaving and cooking and scrubbing.
The day you're worn to a frazzle with work, I want to see it. Shakespeare, those are brand new stockings.
Come here, Cat. You leave Grandma's brand new stockings alone. No, really, I do love to eat in the kitchen.
I don't mind it myself. It's such a nice kitchen and all those windows.
Beginning to look like it walked right out of a magazine advertisement. The linoleum down and the curtains up. Hey, don't be so stingy with the onions, Mama. David loves them.
I have peeled onions until the tears are rolling down my cheeks.
Always complaining. What do you think we're paying you for?
Telephone.
You don't say.
Telephone!
David, telephone. Well, answer it. I wonder who it is at this hour.
I wouldn't know. What do you mean, this hour? What's wrong with 6:30?
People should not phone at supper time. I hate jumping up and down from the table.
You're not sitting at the table yet.
Well, I could be.
I love onions, and I want to live. Onions,
runs in the family.
Onions,
He thinks he can sing, too.
Onions, get that bass note, onions.
Onions, he smells onions, onions, onions. He smells onions, onions. Don't be an ass, old onion. That's lilacs you smell. Who was at the phone?
What are we having for supper, onions?
None of your business, onion. Who was at the phone?
What are we having for supper, Mother?
I detest men who are so food-loving.
We're having veal cutlets. Any comments?
Oh, yes. Roger loves veal cutlets.
Roger? Who?
How many Rogers do we know? David, what do you mean, Roger?
He's coming for dinner.
What? Who said so?
He did.
Well, why didn't you tell us?
I am.
Before.
I didn't know before.
Was that him on the phone?
He on the phone.
This
He
is
on the
no
phone?
time for grammar. Claudia, stop asking questions and unset the table and set it over again in the dining room. Where'd he phone from?
The telephone in the station.
Eastbrook Station or New York Station?
Eastbrook.
Well, go down and call for him, you two. I can manage better alone.
Wait a minute, Mama. I have to get this straight. Is he going up to Boston to see his son again?
No, he went up this morning, apparently. He's on his way back.
Oh, dear, where'll he sleep?
He's not going to stay. He's going on to New York. Just asked if he could stop over for an hour or so to break the trip.
Well, that's funny. It's not such a long trip to break. David, you know what?
What?
I think he likes us.
Peculiar
What do you
man.
know?
Peculiar tastes. Well, you're going to let him stand in the station all night, or will you get a move on and call for him?
I don't know. You think we ought to let him stand in the station all night?
Well, it's
He
nice
said he
and
was taking
warm.
a taxi. It was quicker, so we won't have
Why
to
didn't
worry.
you say so? Here, we better use the good plates, Mama. You carry them in the dining room for me, will you, David?
Look, don't unset the table. Just add an extra plate.
And eat in the kitchen?
Mm-hmm.
David, Roger Killian is not only a very distinguished architect, but your partner to boot.
Shut it off.
You'll not let him sit in the kitchen while I have anything to say.
Well, as I live and breathe. Look who's here if it isn't my old friend and colleague, Bluff Naughton.
Why, come in, Bluff, old boy. Delighted to have you join us. Hand me your paw.
And Shakespeare. Shakespeare, come right in. What brings you here? Glad to see you. Have off your collar and make yourself at home.
I give notice.
Here,
I'm
give
leaving.
Mama your hat.
I refuse to fix supper with one Great Dane dog, one Persian cat, and two full-fledged idiots crowding up a small kitchen.
David, she not only says we're idiots, but she says this kitchen is small.
Small?
Did you ever hear of such a thing?
Small? Why, this kitchen, look here. From wall to wall, it's 18 feet this way and 13.6 this way.
Yes, honestly, some people are never satisfied. Next thing, she'll be complaining about the size of her bedroom, I suppose. What are you beating up?
Eggs.
Eggs? What for eggs?
I'm throwing together a few popovers, if you've no objections.
Listen to it. Throwing together a few popovers. You mean showing off because a strange man is coming. What do you want to bet they won't pop?
I'll take you up on it. There's a taxi. Mr. Killian's here already, and you haven't even begun to unset the table.
Come on, Bluff. We'll go out and meet him. Down, Bluff. Down, sir. Hey, mind your manners.
Run along and powder your nose, Claudia. I
Yeah.
can get through faster alone.
Well, maybe I better get dressed up a little. I mean, you're right. He is David's boss.
A little on the formal side, isn't he?
Oh,
A few times I've met him, I've always had a sense that he was rather, difficult to know.
Yes, but not when you know him. I think he's chiefly sensitive and lonely.
Oh, I thought he had a wife. Or is she dead?
No, she's not dead. She seems to be very much alive. Rather important. I mean, she's terribly active in Washington or someplace. I've never met her. Look, isn't that husband of mine the limit? He's bringing Roger in the back way.
They're heading straight toward the kitchen. Shakespeare, will you? Oh, there now, I've stepped on your paw. Well, I didn't mean it. Here, let me see. Is it really hurt, you poor little
He's
fellow?
just putting on an act. Don't let him fool you, Mama.
Oh, here, kitty. Here, here's a little piece of nice chicken.
She's lying to you, Shakespeare. It's only veal.
Shh. Don't tell him.
Here they come. My, doesn't Roger look pale next to David's sunburn?
Yes, he does. Those few days up here have done David a lot of good.
Oh, no. Look here, Bluff. Stop coming. Good Lord, David, don't you teach that dog of yours any manners?
Hey, Bluff, mind your manners. Get down. Shakespeare,
Hello, Mrs.
Shakespeare,
Brown.
stop.
Hello, Claudia.
Hello, Roger.
This kitchen's a madhouse. David, don't you know we've got a front door?
We're sure we have a front door, but Roger wanted to drink of water to take a pill.
What kind of a pill?
What possible business is that of yours, Claudia?
Just curious. If I liked it, I thought I might borrow one and take it too.
You don't need pills for your nerves, my child. Such palliatives belong to the aging and the disillusioned. Mind if I sit on the windowsill here? Hello, pussycat. Come on, jump up. No, not you, Bluff. You're not a lapdog.
He thinks he is.
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't move. I just wanted to open the window from the top to get this smell of onions out.
Oh, let the smell stay in. It's wonderful.
Right.
What is that you're putting in the oven, Mrs. Brown? Cupcakes?
No, popovers.
Popovers? I haven't had popovers in years.
Well, you're going to get popovers tonight. Hey, Claudia, where are you going?
Dining room to set the table.
Oh, no. Now, can't we eat in here?
Mama says you're a very distinguished man. She will not permit you
Claudia,
to eat in the
will
kitchen.
you behave yourself?
Please, Mrs. Brown. Please, let's eat in the kitchen.
Sure we can. Meeting come to order, please. Mama, you have been officially overruled.
Well, at least go in the living room and wait until we're ready.
Why? We're perfectly happy here, aren't we, Roger?
Completely happy and completely relaxed.
Well, I'm glad someone is. Claudia, will you climb over a few cats and dogs and stray men and hand me that strainer over there?
I don't think I can make it. Say, David, hand me the strainer.
All right. Roger, let's face it. We're not welcome. Come along, my boy. We'll go into the living room.
Oh, dear me, and I was so comfortable.
Go on, out with you both of you.
Now, don't be so rough with me. Remember, I'm going to be a father.
You ought to begin to act like one.
Oh, look at the suns of the bay window. David, you're a lucky fellow.
Yep, Roger. That is my own private son. Over my own private little universe.
I envy you.
Cigarette?
No, I'm off smoking for a while. Haven't been sleeping too well.
Look, Roger, is anything wrong? You look a little frazzled. I don't mean to pry, but after all, I'd like to think we were friends as well as partners. If there's anything I can do,
Thank you. But I guess this is a problem that, well, I'll have to work it out for myself.
It's the boy, isn't it?
Yes. You see, I didn't like the idea of leaving for Chicago tomorrow without having another talk with him first. Didn't do any good, though. I found him rebellious, sullen, unhappy. almost to a point of complete maladjustment.
Sounds like the school's at fault.
Not entirely. You can't expect a school to do the job that parents should have done.
Come now, Roger. You've been a fine father to that youngster.
Except that I've given him everything but the one thing that matters most. A decent home. I realized it just now, David, when I walked into that kitchen. I realized what a rich inheritance your child is coming into. My son never knew that kind of riches. There were nurses and tutors, the best schools, and never once, in all the years that I can remember, a scene of utter happiness and security, like the one that met me this evening. And yet, we started off nice people, Ruth and I, and then something happened. We lost the art of living, I suppose. And when you lose the art of living, you lose the art of love. Now we're two busy, successful people with a great failure on our hands. An unhappy child.
I wish I knew what to say, Roger. It makes me a little frightened to think that a man and a woman can hold all of life in their hands and let it slip away without being aware of what was happening.
That's the pity of it. We have no lovely memories. We've built a future for our son without the memory of a home. David, our boy never even had a dog or a cat. He had allergies instead, and I'm taking pills for my nerves. And Ruth takes committee meetings in large doses. We're poor people, David, and you're rich, and getting richer every moment, storing up memories to last you your full lifetime.
Well, David, Mama says the popovers are popping and the soup's on.
Oh, good.
So you can come in and sit down. And Roger never got a glass of water for his pill. So I brought it to him. Here it is.
Thanks. Only I don't think I need it.
Good for you.
I'll take the water, though, and pretend it's champagne. And drink a toast.
I never had a toast drunk to me.
It isn't to you, Claudia. It's to your son. And don't ask me how I know it will be a boy. I just know it.
You're not so smart. You know it because we told you.
Of course, David and I aren't the sort to have daughters.
I remember saying the same thing. I wanted a son so desperately.
And God gave you your wish. I hope our son will be as nice as yours.
He'll be luckier, Claudia.
Children, hurry up. The soup's getting cold.
Because long after he's grown up, he'll remember the warm, sweet smell of a kitchen with his grandmother making popovers.
Every mother wants her youngsters to enjoy wholesome pastimes. One way to encourage such pastimes and such refreshment is to have a good supply of Coke in the refrigerator at all times. For then the young people can offer hospitality to their friends. They can promote that sociability which is so often sought outside rather than inside the home. You can get Coca-Cola by the case at your grocer's or your service station. Why not jot it down on your market list right now?
What a charming way to spend an evening, eh, Mr. King? Supper in the kitchen with a happy young couple.
Glad to see you're enjoying it, Mr. Killian.
I am enjoying it indeed. It's not the usual way my friends entertain, but it's so much wiser.
Well, that's how Claudia and David feel about it.
I certainly do hate to have to go back to New York, but I must. And from New York to Chicago.
Say, that's quite a trip you've got there.
All business. I suppose tomorrow will be a beautiful sunny day in Eastbrook. David will enjoy it to the hilt.
Not only to the hilt, to the trout.
He's going fishing.
You'll find out tomorrow.
Oh, how I envy him. Well, I'm glad for him anyway. I hope he has a fine day. It's the city for me, so goodbye, Mr. King.
Goodbye, Mr. Killian.
There you have it, June 3rd, 1948, Claudia here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you for tuning in. Would you please thank this radio station and support their advertisers? It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we're here on your favorite station. Also, if you miss a day on this station, you don't have to miss a single show. They're all available through Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, Amazon. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Or go to my webpage, classicradio.stream, where you can stream the shows, learn more about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can even buy me a Dr. Pepper if you want to. classicradio.stream. Thanks so much for joining us. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.